Jaya Radha Madhava Punjabi Radhe Radha Madhava Punjabi Jaya Radha Madhava Punjabi Radhe Madhava Punjabi Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Parividagacharya Astatara Shri Srimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Ananta Koti Vaishnavadinda Ki Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Gora Premanandi Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya We'll be continuing this morning from 10:14:29, Brahma's prayers. Nice verse. My Lord, if one is favored by even a slight trace of the mercy of your lotus feet, he can understand the greatness of your personality. But those who speculate to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead are unable to know you, even though they continue to study the Vedas for many years. Now, on the greatness of your personality, there are different ways of understanding what that means, and one of the messages you'll hear is the greatness includes his opulence plus his sweetness, which is a big thematic topic about Krishna's pastimes in Vrindavan. Strong emphasis on sweetness, while also from Sukadev Goswami explaining both, or Brahma explaining both, or Narada explaining both, or others explaining both, Uddhava explaining both, sweetness and opulence, or Aishvarya and Madhurya. And that's part of his greatness, that there's both. Included in this also is the Jnane Prayasa Udapasya, the throwing away, the speculative process, because those who speculate, they're relying on their own capacity and they're not eager for the mercy, and therefore they can't understand. But even such a person who has a Gyan tendency, if they get even, the word is lesha, even a particle, a tiny fragment, a little slight trace of mercy, then they can understand. At least they can understand to some degree, and we'll hear understanding the unlimited has its gradations. So we're going to read two commentaries, Jiva Goswami and Sanatan Goswami. And a little, very short one from Vishwanath. Jiva Goswami writes, though the Lord has unlimited greatness, by his mercy, the discriminating person can approach the Lord. The meaning is clear. In knowing your greatness, such persons reject the Vivartavad explanations, the words will be explained. So the Vivartavad explanations means Maivad, or Vivarta means covering. Like Upadi, it's very similar, not identical, but similar designation or covering. So we're spirit soul. Vivartavad says we're not spirit soul, we're Brahman, and a portion of Brahman, because you can't divide Brahman. It's one thing. If you divide Brahman, then it's more than one. So Brahman gets covered by something, by Maya. And that Maya is a upadi, so to think that we're an individual is an upadi, the body is an upadi, everything is upadi, so that's a designation. Then this other is Vivarta. So this verse is dismissing Vivarta. The words will be explained from the verse. O revealer of everything. So Brahma is addressing Krishna in that way. O revealer of everything. Or one who is revealed everywhere. Deva. Or, O Krishna who plays in Vrindavan eternally. That's the Swayam Bhagavan. Paramatma Bhagavan, Swayam Bhagavan. One who is favored by even a particle of mercy knows your greatness, certainly. And this is a often cited Mundaka Upanishad phrase, Yam Evaisha Vrinute, pretty simple, means the Lord reveals himself to the person he chooses. And the converse is if he doesn't choose, then one can't know him. That's the mercy. The words lotus feet in this context indicate bhakti. So the lotus feet reference is, my Lord, if one is favored by even a slight trace of the mercy of your lotus feet. The mercy of your lotus feet means the mercy of the bhakti shakti of the Supreme Lord, or bhakti process, even a slight trace, then one can know the greatness of Krishna. O Lord who reveals qualities like mercy, Bhagavan. This is the cause of receiving his mercy, his glories are clear. So what was that? Each of them say the same thing. O Lord who reveals qualities like mercy. So mercy comes because it's his nature. He's merciful, like the sun shines because it's sunny. It gives light. Getting mercy is because Krishna is by nature merciful. It's one of his qualities. His glories are clear. He is without limits. Then the second verse of this chapter 14 is quoted. Even by controlling the mind, no one can understand the greatness of this form of the Lord of the universe, which has manifested in many four-armed forms, but which is actually you, the one form of Swayam Bhagavan, who gave me mercy by your own will, spreading through the universe in many forms, many spiritual forms, possessing bliss which can be understood only by yourself. That was text number 2. And his introduction to that is, or reason for citing it is, the Lord is unlimited. However, to a small degree, jivas can realize the Lord. The unlimited can be realized to a limited degree. Text 21 of this 14th chapter Remember, we're on text 29, so it's going back a few verses. The quote reads, "O unrestricted Lord, O Lord endowed with all powers, O super soul, O Lord spread throughout all time. Who knows where, how many, and when your pastimes will take place in the universe. Spreading Yogamaya, you play." So that is to indicate, to a small degree, the unlimited can be understood. In the final paragraph, others are without mercy. One person alone, such as Shiva, may speculate or do yoga, thinking while reviewing the scriptures, what is this truth and how large is it? Though the mercy is only a particle, it will gradually increase until it becomes full. That theme is spoken. There's the entering into the realm of bhakti and culturing, nurturing bhakti. Then realization can grow and grow and grow and so forth. Sanatana Goswami, there's some repetition. Though your glory is clear, it can be realized only by your mercy. O revealer of everything, or one who manifests everywhere, O Lord, who always plays in Vrindavan, the fortunate person receives a particle of mercy, or he receives Mahaprasad, such as Tulsi leaves. This is certain. Quote, O Lord, who reveals qualities like mercy, Bhagavan, this is the cause of the mercy. Others do not obtain this mercy. This person knows the truth about your glories, the one who receives a particle, even a particle. Commencing bhakti, so that's when you get a particle of mercy. Commencing bhakti, giving up all speculation. By praying for bhakti continuously, one knows the truth about bhakti. Mahim naha. One knows what it is, its real nature. Another person all alone, without association, contemplating by studying scriptures, vichinvan, and yoga practice, does not know the Lord. Final. Though one realizes the truth by getting full mercy, usually one only receives a particle, lesha. This indicates that the mercy is rare. So we should be eager for mercy. That's the message. And, really short, but Jiva Goswami in his Krama Sandarbha writes, O Lord, revealer of everything, O Lord, endowed with all qualities, such persons, receiving a particle of mercy from your lotus feet, realize to some degree your greatness. Others cannot understand, even after reflecting for a long time. That's paraphrasing of the verse, and here's his commentary. Though the Lord has unlimited greatness, by his mercy, the discriminating person can approach the Lord. Lotus feet indicate bhakti, indicates bhakti. Though the mercy is only one particle, it will gradually increase until it becomes full. By that mercy, one can know the truth about your greatness, which is a combination of power and sweetness. The result of mercy, listen to the sequence. The result of mercy is knowledge, and the result of knowledge is worship, The result of worship is direct realization. That happens quickly. Thus, Brahma prays. That's it. The result of mercy is knowledge. Say conversely, without mercy, one will not have knowledge. And the result of knowledge is worship. That's 10.8 Bhagavad Gita. Knowing that Krishna is the source of everything, one engages in worshiping him. The result of worship is direct realization. That happens quickly. Thus, Brahma prays. It's pretty simple. It's refreshing that it's so simple. It's not something new to our hearing or the way of explaining what's being presented here. Just a quick overview. There's several texts preceding this one that are being referred to in, this is something like a summary way or restating of something earlier stated, kind of in a different package. The necessity of mercy, the necessity of rejecting speculative knowledge without mercy, without bhakti. In this case, the lesha, a fragmental speck of mercy, is bhakti, of his lotus feet, means bhakti. So even with a little slight tinge of bhakti, then one can understand things. So mercy precedes knowledge, knowledge results in worship, worship results in realization. And Brahma's giving his realizations. I'm going to take a topic over here, and we'll come back. The topic over here is the pramana. The term pramana means evidence, or the means of knowing something, but evidence. So in spiritual circles, we refer to pramana, primarily Shabda pramana. However, there are some things that we find that we accept, although we don't find a Shabda pramana or a scriptural authority to support them. And let's take, for example, Vedanta Sutra. What's Vedanta Sutra? Vedanta Sutra is not Shabda, it's Vyasa's realizations. And what is Srimad Bhagavatam? Srimad Bhagavatam is the term is used, Samadhi Grantha. He compiled the essence of Bhagavat Purana, and then he expanded it more fully as a result of Samadhi under the order of Narada. And we accept that as the topmost authority. It is our topmost authority. Or another example is pastimes of Krishna that are not referred to explicitly in the four Vedas or the Puranas, like pastimes that we're quite familiar with, that Rupa Goswami describes, or Raghunath Das Goswami describes, or Sanatana Goswami describes, pastimes of Krishna. And we accept them as good as scripture. because they're arising from the samadhi of these perfected beings. Now, there are persons that would not hold that same view, because when some pastimes are written, then there's no scriptural authority to support it. Then what do? Well, we invest faith in those personalities who are representatives, pure representatives. And others from some other tradition, they may not give the same weight. There's other examples without going too far with it. But for us, Srimad Bhagavatam is the topmost authority. And to understand the fullness of the absolute truth, according to our limited capacity, our bhakti capacity, is the fullness of the absolute truth available in this material world is this Srimad Bhagavatam. So within the Srimad Bhagavatam is the authority, the principal authority for the conclusions that we understand reveal the absolute truth, because Scripture reveals the absolute truth. That's what Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, right? The purpose of the Vedas is to know Krishna. And so he's the absolute truth. And the Bhagavatam is saying the absolute truth has these three features, Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan, and they're all absolute. So that's authority for us. And of those forms of the Lord, Krishna is the original source. That's authority for us. Now, there are many other scriptures that support that and support the Bhagavatam. So we're not standing alone just because we have some faith in something. Without faith, or in this case, without mercy, which is one of the qualities of the personality of Godhead, Bhagavan, Sri Krishna, without mercy we can't understand him. We understand him through Scripture, but it's not just Scripture. There has to be also some mercy in the form of bhakti. Because without bhakti you can't understand Krishna. That's in Bhagavad Gita. Bhaktyamam abhijanati. So we're not engaged in a intellectual exercise or a gyan cultivation exercise by reading Srimad Bhagavatam. Rather, it's a bhakti nourishing exercise. And our limited binary processor mind cannot understand many things. And that's perfect. It's perfectly okay, and it's perfect because we're meant to understand not by the binary processor mind, but by revelation. And the revelation comes as we just heard. When there's mercy, there's knowledge. When there's knowledge, there's worship. When there's worship, there's realization. Krishna reveals himself. I like this. Mundaka Upanishad. The Lord reveals himself to whoever he wants to. And the conversely, he doesn't have to reveal himself to someone he doesn't want to. And what's the criterion for him to reveal himself and wanting to reveal himself? It's proportionate to one's bhakti. Or from Bhagavad Gita, Naham prakasha sarvasya yogamaya samavrata mudho yam nabhijanati. Those who have a disposition that Krishna is some material entity, or he's in a pot, there's subtle mode of goodness imposed upon Brahman, and that's what Krishna is. Well, he doesn't reveal himself to those people. And he does reveal himself, or he can reveal himself to those who he's inclined to reveal himself, to those who have some faith or some bhakti and want to understand on that basis. Then they can know him to some extent. those are the two verses represented. You can't know him, then to some extent you can know him. You can't know him in full, which is what the first verse says. I don't understand this form standing before me. What to speak of the happiness that you're experiencing? You alone know your happiness. It's a wonderful, I like the process of Krishna's inviting us into his association through these topics. He's revealing himself, and in both the opulence and the sweetness feature through this sound vibration approach through the bhakti process or bhakti mood. And it has the potency of transporting one to another place far beyond the chaos of contemporary life, Kali Yuga life. Even in the midst of turmoil and confusion and uncertainty and everything else. And when there's actual shelter in Krishna from that sound vibration, then that remembrance stays with you, the protection stays with you, the capacity to discriminate between Krishna and non-Krishna, what's pleasing to Krishna, what's not pleasing to Krishna, becomes more natural. The light opens up darkness, and then we can start to see things that prior one cannot see. Mercy, that's this emphasis in this verse. Even a fragment of mercy. We want more than a fragment, we want to nurture whatever it is that we've received, mercy, and more mercy and more mercy. Be greedy for mercy. And be ready to pay the price. The submission in service. So let's see if there's some discussion. 8:00. Up front, right here.
Maharaj, from what I understand, Vyasadeva compiled the Vedas after Krishna's disappearance. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, knowledge about me is revealed through the Brahma Sutras, the Vedanta Sutra. So it sounds like he's referring to the Vedanta Sutra of Vyasadeva, but that wouldn't be very chronological.
Good point. Do you have an answer?
Brahma Sutra could refer to just, literally statements about the Supreme. I mean, Prabhupada translates it as the Vedanta Sutra, the
Yes,
Vedanta
he does.
Shruti.
Yes.
So,
I'll see if some of the scholars that I have connection with, if they have an answer to that one. Back there.
Thank you, Maharaj. A little bit insisting on my comment the last time I intervened.
About what?
The last time I intervened, I said that we're always going to be 2 fingers short in our knowledge of...
Oh, you really like that. You brought this up the other day.
I've been roaming around that in comparing with the analogy Jesus said about we have to be like children in order to understand God and understand me, because of the purity of and innocence and how fertile in a children's brain are in order for them to observe
Well, I don't know if we have to.
understanding who, because
Innocence is one thing, and childishness is another thing.
well, but I think they are
There's difference.
Yeah, I don't know.
We have to become children. We have to be innocent,
Yeah,
clean slate.
exactly. Because sometimes I see so much complexity in trying to understand.
But that's the mind. That's the mind. The binary processor rejects things and accepts things. If it conforms with our views and our, our conceptions of things, we just reject things. It bounces because you're not a blank slate. We're not innocent. We don't have sufficient faith in what's beyond us to know. Go ahead.
Yeah, as I said prior to that comment, that there are scholars that know a lot of God, but they're not touched by Him.
Could you speak into the microphone, please?
Yes.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of devotees that know about God, but still acting like
Otherwise.
Exactly. Very Krishna consciousness, but they know it. They know everything. They know
Got
this
it.
lokatheti.
Okay.
And still backstabbing and
Yes.
pointing fingers and
Yes.
and it's kind of like we should overcome this. But anyway, a neophyte like me just
Okay, so you're
kind of appalling and
you're analyzing and venting a little bit.
Say it
Okay.
again. I'm sorry.
You're analyzing and you're venting a little bit. It's not very pleasant when you know and you don't behave according to what you know. That's duplicity. Okay, or immaturity at least. Okay, thanks. Way over on the far end.
Over the weekend, we were discussing about abhas chanting and offensive chanting. And I was thinking, my understanding is when my mind is going and then I am not able to make an effort to bring it back, that is offensive chanting. Whereas if I'm making an effort to at least bring it back, then that's abhas chanting. So in my case, both of them happened. So I was coming to a conclusion that I'm going back and forth between offensive and abhas chanting at this point in time. It's like a mixture. Is that correct understanding?
That's not correct. I mean, there's degrees, but unsteadiness isn't offensive. Unsteadiness is the back and forth. Anishtata bhakti is not in the offensive category. It's in the clearing category. It's in the abhas category.
So even the chanting that I do where I'm not able to bring my mind back, that
You're lazy. It's not offense, it's lazy.
lazy. So laziness does not fall under the category of offense.
It can. One can be an offensive person and be lazy. But one can be an abhas chanter and not be offensive. And, be complacent when I'm, because I'm conditioned soul. and I'm feeling comfortable, or I'm just distracted, or whatever. So there's in the abhas category has a big spectrum. It's not a bucket.
Thank you.
Maharaj, I have a few things. One, we normally hear the distinction between Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. But yesterday and today we heard about Paramatma, Bhagavan, and Swayam Bhagavan. This is new for me.
What's new for you?
I'm trying to understand, like Bhagavan would be Lord Rama and Nrsimha, and Swayam Bhagavan is referring to specifically the two-handed form of Krishna in Vrindavan.
Yes, correct.
Okay. And then on this sequence that was presented, mercy leads to knowledge, leads to worship, leads to direct realization.
Nice, isn't it?
So we hear that knowledge and detachment causelessly arise from bhakti.
Yes.
So here we're learning that knowledge leads to worship, which is bhakti.
No, that's not, no. There can be knowledge that doesn't have a tinge of bhakti. And there's knowledge that has a tinge of bhakti. And that leads to worship. Knowledge without a tinge of bhakti doesn't lead to worship. So each of them, there's mercy or faith or bhakti in that sequence. Okay?
Final, Guru Maharaj, like in the Bhagavad Gita, even in chapters where there's karma yoga, Prabhupada is always glorifying bhakti throughout. And is it correct also to understand in the Srimad Bhagavatam, here we are hearing Lord Brahma's prayers, and I mean, I wouldn't catch it if I was reading all this, but you're making it very clear that the essence of all of this glorification, and yesterday you said also, like in Queen Kunti, is bhakti.
Yeah.
So that is the theme throughout both
Yes.
the Bhagavad Gita and the Bhagavatam.
Yes, yes. We can, our acharyas can understand the essence in something here and something there and something there because they know the essence. And so within the essence, here's something and here's something and here's something. But the essence is not absent. Although something may be emphasized, the essence is also there. The something is a subset of the essence. The jnana prayasa udapasya is a subset of bhakti, the subset of the essence. And so forth. So there's refinement and details that are expressed, and it helps us get a clear picture of what the essence is. No harm. In fact, it's best that the essence is highlighted again and again because it is the essence. And if we can capture the essence, we can then understand the details better. Jitendra is confirming.
Guru Maharaj, I was just appreciating, part of the theme of these prayers of Lord Brahma is highlighting the great fortune of receiving this understanding of, Krishna's supreme position.
Yeah.
And our acharyas also highlight this, that to understand this human form and human-like pastimes of the Lord, is very rare and difficult, and it only can be obtained by Krishna's mercy, by Him revealing. And then I was just wondering, well, it just came to my mind that these different types of religions that accept a human form manifestation of the Supreme Lord. In this case, we have different Vaishnava sects or cults or sampradayas that had different conceptions of this human form, not human form, human-like form. And then I was thinking about Christianity, that they do accept a human-like form of the Supreme, and they surrender to that. They consider, yes, I surrender to this human-like form, is God. But obviously the revelation is not, the full revelation. It's a partial revelation on understanding of the supremacy.
Where is this going? I'm getting lost.
The question is that it came to my mind is that when we compare religions, there is all religions that are based in the scriptures. And in one sense, should we consider a religion like Christianity or Catholicism superior than, say, Buddhism, which have no form consideration, or even Islam that says, yes, there is God is beautiful, but don't describe him, otherwise we'll kill you, or something like that. It's prohibited to think of, form. Or Judaism that there is no form, there is just words, something like that. So a religion in comparative religion, should we consider from the Vaishnava perspective that is higher because of this human conception?
Because of which?
Because of the understanding of, God has a form and it's human-like form.
But I'm a little more comfortable with the word complete. You can say higher, but higher has some judgmental pejoratives to it. So complete, more complete. Let's go online.
Uttama Bhaktadas. There are some amazing contemporaries around our Goswami's times, like Sant Tukaram, Narshi Mehta, Mira, and Baba Guru Nanak. What is our Acharya's position about their divine position?
Appreciation. Next.
Atulya Devidasi. What is the quality of interaction one may have with Srimad Bhagavatam to receive the full benefit? I've been reading Srimad Bhagavatam and how to feel a deep transformation from reading Srimad Bhagavatam.
What should be our regard while reading the Bhagavatam? That's the question.
How can one receive the full benefit? How can one feel a deep transformation?
Well, turn your receiver on. Open your heart. A similar question was being asked previously, not by her, but by others. Hear with your heart open, or using the words that he was using, with innocence and a simple heart. So the cleansing can be more effective. The clean up potencies of the Bhagavatam's message will act best, and the awakening of transcendental understanding will act best if there's an eagerness to serve, an eagerness to receive, an openness for both. That's best.
And it looks like last one, Uttama Bhaktadas. Knowledge follows mercy of Lord. If I'm getting Bhagavad Gita as it is, first time, and it's from Srila Prabhupada, my understanding is that mercy is embedded in there. Is that correct?
Yes. There's light. However, some people may have their eyes closed and they wish to keep them closed, and so they don't get it. Or some people are just argumentative type people and they don't get it. So there's light, there's mercy, and one may or may not receive it. One may receive it in degrees, let's say. Okay. Thank you very much. Prabhupada ki jai.